Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Style Esports Season 5. My name is Diatripa, and I am joined by Merlin as we bring you Illinois Illinois College JV versus Srite Gaming tonight.
Welcome, guys. It's Merlin Mondays. I'm so excited to be here with you. We've got two new teams up in the Zaun division. This is a solid mid-plat, high-plat league, and it looks like the teams have done some research. At least I thought they did because we had that Bard come out. We do have a very strong Diamond Bard main on the part of Illinois. I do think that with 187 ranked games this season, that's probably a pretty big comfort pick. Plus, you all know Bard has just some insane impacts in the game. So I hope that comes out for Srite. There it is as a second ban. Otherwise, we've just got some support targeted bans, which given, how impactful those supports are, I think those make sense.
Yeah, and I think this is a lot based on the research that you had mentioned. And right now, it's mostly comfort champions that they're banning out, especially with Echo Bard and Jhin. Those are all targeted at a specific player. In this case, the Echo targeted a little bit more at Hulk, which is something that we don't necessarily see too often in the jungle. But when it is comfortable, certainly can take over a game. And the Caitlyn ban being the last one, I think is a really interesting pivot towards trying to secure bot lane priority.
Absolutely. I mean, I think Caitlyn on red side is kind of a strong ban no matter what. She just has not gotten enough nerfs yet, despite being trimmed a little bit over the past couple patches. I still think she's kind of obnoxious as a mid laner. Looking at her, you just know that your bot lane is going to be crippled a little bit in the game. So I think it is a good ban almost all the time when you're on red side. A lot of people feel like she's just pick or ban at this point on red side. For Illinois College, we do have the Senna coming out. Sometimes I prefer to wait a minute on the Senna. I don't know that she's necessarily like super first pick priority. I know ADCs is generally something you do pick in the first round, but if you can kind of bait your opponent into picking a melee support, that becomes a lot easier. I feel like you can wait for it. But it's possible that they just feel like this is such a power pick for them in terms of comfort.
Yeah, I think that that's a really good point that you bring up, that you can wait on that Senna. And I think that what this might tell us a little bit is that Illinois College should be drafting a comp that is specific to Senna, generally very good at enabling other divers, like you mentioned, being able to pair with something like a melee support. And Srite look like they have something of their own up their sleeves, locking in two picks that I almost never see in the Poppy and the Brand.
So if you are a good Poppy, and I mean like a serious Poppy, you can get a lot done. She's kind of a crazy champ in the top lane, and because she's not seen quite that often, I think she's often able to do quite a lot. I also like the Brand. The Brand says we're just gonna get in your face and we're gonna pound, we're gonna go for kills, we're gonna go with tons of damage with a mage who's got 4 abilities that all deal damage against your Senna, and we're not gonna give you the ability to just like pick off souls one by one off of a Nautilus or any sort of melee bot laner. So I kind of like the Brand pick. I'm wondering who they're going to pair it with. I hope it's someone who's got kind of kill pressure in lane. Like a Trist could be okay. Someone who can go in. Zaya, I think is okay. I think as far as the meta goes, I think she's pretty out of style and she's supported by Rakan, given the buffs that duo has. So I am not sure that that's who I would have picked. But I think potentially if they had a more aggressive jungler, they might have been able to, a more aggressive bot laner, they might have been able to do more on it. They have Jinx and Kai'Sa and Lucian. I think Lucian could potentially have been good there. But it should be interesting. And to round it out, Illinois' JV picks up Hecarim, who is still pretty strong in the jungle. I assume that that's a jungle Hecarim. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would suspect it to be a jungler. They still can throw it into something like the top lane. Like the top lane Hecarim will struggle to lose lane, especially into something like a Poppy that doesn't necessarily put out as much pressure into specifically the Hecarim, who's able to absorb a lot. So we could see it pivoted. More than likely, though, like you mentioned, it is most likely, wow, I said that many times, going to be a Hecarim in the jungle. And I like this. It's going to be able to keep most backlines on the retreat because of his ability to go straight into them. And Zaya, I think, fortunately has a lot of safety in this regard. Brand, not so much.
Interesting picks coming through. So,
Mhm.
Srite just banned Shen, and I'm not sure who
I think that's not a ban.
who
I
is the
like because
yeah,
we in the chat there was just nothing. So I think that's straight up a no ban.
right. And then the brand is evidently going to go mid lane, which is very unconventional. Lulu's, I guess I like a little better
Hmm.
than Brand Zaya. Lulu's got some kind of attack speed buffs and can make sure that she stays alive. So now you're kind of playing a different game instead of kind of a lane dominant Brand ADC. You're playing kind of a late game scaler Zaya. And now
And
we have another
is
support.
it Brand Jungle? Oh wait, it's Brand Jungle. It's actually Brand Jungle.
Is it? He's got
I
that in his kit.
I
He could
I don't know, but this is the only person that I see. Maybe unless they're putting like mages and everything in every lane, and then leaving Poppy to jungle, because Poppy certainly can.
Poppy could jungle, but this team is like ridiculously squishy. I mean, it would be difficult to find 4 squishier champions than Brand, Zaya, Lulu, Lux.
Mhm.
I'm interested to see where the champs go, but I kind of hate the comp. I
I
feel I feel like Srite really needs like a front line. If you're gonna play a bunch of squishy backline mages and backline champions like Zaya, Brand, Lux, then you need a big front line who can really like stay alive and dish it out. And Poppy in the jungle is not going to be that kind of champ. Hopefully it's Poppy top lane. That would be a little better, but even that, you're not going to be able to hold back the Scion, the Hecarim. If Syndra ever gets a piece of somebody, she's going to all in them for their whole life. Senna and Braum also have CC. Srite is never going to be able to go in. They're never going to be able to go engage. They're going to have to go for picks. And I just feel like that's a really hard comp to execute on. If you had like a early game jungler, a Warwick, or a Lee, I think that you would be you might be able to say, okay, we're going to snowball the lane with Lux binds and Brand damage, and we're going to make this work by kind of winning in 15 and getting dragons before we see scaling from the other team. But there's just I just don't think there's any synergy between the champs that they've chosen. And if Illinois plays their lanes correctly and doesn't give away anything early, I think they've got to be heavily favored late game with the Hecarim and the Syndra and the Scion.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think so. The thing that Srite does have going for them is that they have a hyper carry on their team in that Zaya, and as much as their champions are squishy, they're all champions that also excel at keeping you at arm's length. Things like Lux with her ability to bind you as she walks away, as well as her shields to keep people alive. Lulu also exceptional at kiting and disengaging, and Brand, of course, are going to be a team that if we see Illinois College not be able to in a coordinated way begin a fight, Srite is going to be able to kite them out with insane amounts of damage.
Possibly. I mean, I think Srite is really looking for like 5v5s with Poppy in the front, and they're looking to get Dove on. And I just don't think you have to give them that fight. I mean, Hecarim is great in 2v2 and 3v3 situations. He can just hunt in the jungle and gank through the lanes. And there's no reason why Scion and Hecarim can't split. It's not like Srite can siege particularly well. I'm really interested to see how this plays out. Hopefully it'll be a good match. But this is certainly a very unconventional set of picks. I mean, look at that Scion into Brand. That is a matchup that nobody has ever seen before in the history of League. And you might think that Scion is at a disadvantage because it's range versus melee. But I think once he layers on a little MR, he's going to be just fine against that Brand. And Brand is always, for the entire game, going to be squishy and going to be one Scion ult away from dying, or one Scion ult plus Hecarim gank. So I think the Brand is going to have a tough lane. I think Syndra into Lux is pretty even skill matchup, you could say, but I don't think you can look at that and say, oh yeah, Lux has got a ton of kill pressure on that Syndra. She's not going to be able to push Syndra in. Syndra's got plenty of wave clear. Hecarim farms faster than Poppy. maybe they can get a great aggressive Senna against Senna and Braum. They might be able to have lane priority on the bot side.
Yeah,
Yeah, if they watch out for ganks, maybe they can have some kill pressure or get a farm lead or get Poppy to come for a counter gank.
and I think that the wave clear that you brought up is something that is going to be hyper relevant, especially in the early stages of the game. Obviously, Senna famous for not really being able to match or contest the wave clear of other AD carries in the same way, and into a Xayah Lulu certainly could struggle to maintain her lane pressure, but towards the top side of the map, Hulk is really going to have the run of it, being enabled by something like the Syndra and Sion that can perma push and start to take away Poppy's at least top half of the jungle.
Yeah, I think Sion will probably. I think he will probably allow himself to get pushed in. If I was Hecarim, I'd say camp the brand sounds like a great plan. There's
Oh my god, yeah.
I think it's just going to be pretty easy to get fed. You just wrap your ganks the long way around that little brush on blue side. I think you get in behind him, and you can push him towards the Scion. Yeah, I think that the top lane, it just looks so dangerous. I will say the counter to that is you could possibly see Poppy counter gank. Counter ganks are always very effective because
Mhm.
when you gank somebody, you often push into the minion wave, and it's not a big deal because you're fighting 2v1 and you can generally eliminate one champion before it becomes super relevant. But if you get a good counter gank, all of a sudden you're fighting 2v2 and the opposing minions are aggroed onto you. And in that situation, it really favors the counter gank most of the time. So if Poppy, but that's hard to execute on. You don't always know where the jungle pathing will take somebody. It's hard to predict sometimes, and if you're wrong, you can end up just sitting somewhere for a while. But if I ever saw an opportunity to counter gank, it's topside level 3. It just feels like that's got to be Hecarim's go-to spot for his first gank.
Yeah, it really feels like we're going to see a lot of action early around that top side because also as Illinois College, you don't want to be caught off guard by perhaps a brand that can surprisingly lane really well. And then start to lose on the top side of the map against your Sion just because you're not used to the matchup. So Hulk showing himself top lane around that 3 minute mark is something I'm also going to be looking for as we jump into this game. A reminder, it is our first game of the night, and we're going to be bringing you Illinois College and versus Srite Gaming with a little bit of an unconventional draft as soon as we come right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our first game of the night, Illinois College versus Srite Gaming. My name is Diatripa, and I am joined by our magical man, Merlin, as we load into the Rift in what, like I mentioned as we got in before, is a bit of an unconventional draft from Srite.
I am so disappointed that Srite aren't invading. You've got Lux, for goodness sakes. Illinois Gaming is obviously respecting the fact that they could see an invade here, but I think an invade here makes a lot of sense. Anytime you got Lux, you've got the potential to go for a bind gank. Now let's talk about just for educational purposes. Illinois Gaming, they went to the brush behind red, but look at their ward placement. They went ahead and dropped one at Krugs. So if Srite went through Tribrush and wrapped around the bot side, intending to gank, they could shift their 5-man spot down to the bottom of red and intercept them there. And I will say that Sion has a 2.5-second stun on his fully charged Q, and you do not want to step blind into that. Our top laner, Ewok, he plays a lot of Sion, and we have had some disgusting level 1s where we counter invade. So I think maybe it was smart that Lux didn't try and go in, but I like action. I'm always a
Yeah.
fan of early game invades.
At the same time, you want to see that stuff start stacking up, and Sion going to be making his way back to the top side. Unfortunately, hasn't found any stuns just yet, but I'd expect them around the 3-minute mark, as we mentioned. Just waiting for the Hecarim to maybe join him, and no deep wards placed either in this early game means that the junglers aren't going to know where the other started.
Absolutely. This is interesting so far. So both junglers are starting on the bot side. And generally, teams are able to figure it out, who's missing mana. But the Syndra, Hothouse Raccoon, in the mid lane is playing incredibly aggressive, really trying to do damage to the Lux, and it looks like she's got a couple favorable trades at this point. It's possible. Yeah, it looks like we're already using pots, and Syndra has a Corrupting Potion start, so she's going to be have a lot more sustain. Meanwhile, on the top side, like we suspected, Sion is letting himself get pushed in, and we should see a gank coming out from the Hulk.
Yeah, and Ignite was used bot side meantime, so while we're waiting for top side to come to fruition, we are seeing actually quite a bit of action and heavy trading from the Braum Senna lane that, you're going to feel pretty comfortable about with the amount of sustain that Senna's going to bring.
Yeah, I mean, they've actually done really well in the bot side, and it looks like Hecarim is actually going for the mid gank.
Yeah, it doesn't even pop into the jungle to try and counter our jungle, just shows up mid, gets the flash out of the Lux, and now we have a few lanes missing summoners. Heal missing for Purple Bear in the bot lane, and Dander looking a little bit down a flash there. Gonna have a little bit less mobility on an already immobile mid laner.
Yep, here's the Hecarim gank on the top side.
Yeah, Hecarim walking in for Gale Winds. Has to be careful of the damage, but already the stun's going to be used. Flash away from Gale Winds might be able to get him out. Flash is still available for Biscuits, but I don't think they want to chase into no vision, so he will get out with his life, surprisingly.
Yeah, I'm actually a little surprised they didn't go like full ham. Also, there was a little bit of a lack of coordination. Biscuits was kind of like feinting a recall. Uh-oh, here we go. Hecarim.
Yeah, Hulk going to be spotted out, not stunned, but a flash from the Poppy doesn't get him stunned either. Still picks him up with a buckler for first blood onto the Poppy jungle.
So I feel like that was just ambitious by the Hecarim. It's a mistake people make. When you come out of vision, when you show yourself on the map, here we have some more action on the bot side.
Yeah, this might be in a little bit of trouble here. Winter's Bite actually going to be stacking up here. Purple Bear is going to be all right, but his support now also flashless, so Hecarim going to have a lot to punish.
Absolutely. I mean, I think all the Illinois lanes are playing a little, almost a little too aggressive at this point. They really haven't gotten anything done beyond, a little bit of HP advantages while they went over and gave a kill over to the Poppy, which is not what you want to do. So Hecarim showed for a gank topside, and then he went back into his own jungle without knowing where the Poppy was. That is a pretty sizable mistake. You have got to be careful when you show yourself on the map if you don't know where people are. And they ended up, Brand and Poppy were able to close on him, and they ended up getting first blood.
And you saw them retreat as well. Hecarim and Sion not wanting to chase in onto the Brand, not knowing, and in that case respecting where Poppy was, but then instantly Hulk greeting a little bit for his jungle CS, did take the risk, and unfortunately didn't pay off for him. Now is going to be a little bit behind to a like we said, Poppy in a jungle who maybe wasn't expected to have a faster clear. In this case, has found herself an advantage.
Yeah, she's got a pretty sizable advantage, and the Brand is doing fantastic into the Scion. He's got a 15 CS lead at this point, and the Harass is just incredible. He's really keeping him low. Also, Poppy got double Scuttle. That's a big advantage in terms of gold for junglers, so she's going to be Boots and a Ruby Crystal ahead of her counterpart in the jungle. Meanwhile, Brand nonchalantly half health Scion at level 5, which is a big problem. If you might be able to see... Oh, here we go mid lane. Poppy.
Bandit doesn't have flash to get on top of the Syndra, but just has to walk at him. Now he's going to be able to actually get the stun into the wall. Raccoon choosing not to use his flash there, falls a little bit too low. Finally has to flash a little too late. Astral's come to support his mid laner, but they're not going to be able to trade this one back unless Hecarim finds something a little bit unexpected. Stalwart presence not even needing to be used there, as Hulk's going to have to walk his way out.
I don't know what happened with Dander there. They had Syndra pinned up against the wall, and she was unable to land her bind. I feel like that was pretty much a free kill if she lands her bind there. I'm sure they're a little disappointed they weren't able to execute on that. Here we go in the bot lane, more action.
Speaking of execution, it looks like we're certainly going to get Wongton be getting executed, as steps a little bit too far forward when he was still flash for his Purple Bear. Might pay for that one, but Astral gets caught into the turret. Heal is going to be forced out of Luca, and that is a very, very low man as Bandit. He's looking for the Hecarim in the top side. Purple Bear still taking bad trades in the bot, and we're really seeing a lot of action across the map. Heal's going to be used, and the flash going to be invested to get the pullback onto Astral, who steps a little bit too far forward. In the top side, Bandit grabs himself a kill, and that is an action-filled map, and suddenly a kill-filled one.
Pretty fantastic. I think Purple Bear is playing brilliantly in this bot lane. Clearly at a health disadvantage, no support, fighting two, able to get the kill and get out, and I think Luca here is in precarious shape. He might feel good at 400 health, but he's up against 2 now, and they could potentially engage here.
Yeah, he does have to be a little bit careful, especially because we're going to have a small XP advantage, but Raccoon actually getting aggressive, has the level 6, he could maybe trade on Dangerous. Barrier is going to be popped, though. Oh my gosh, Binding will miss, but it will be Bandit who walks away with that kill. Unfortunately, Lux not able to grab that one.
No, but I actually think that money on Poppy is not poorly invested. At this point, Syndra is playing super aggressive at lane and has nothing to show for it. She pushes way up to lane and is obviously going for kills, but Lux has barrier. She's got her innate W, her shield, and I just don't know that that Syndra is like properly calculating where she's at in the match, because that is the second time she's kind of overextended in all ins, and either last time she got chased away and this time she ended up paying for her life. So yeah, she's got a 10 CS lead just from the pressure, but giving those kills back is not gonna...
Nice!
Great snipe by the Braum Senna combo. Scouting the Poppy out at his Krugs and then applying Winter's Bite so that Senna can ult off the map. Just a little greedy from Poppy, farming so low when she was in the jungle, and I'm not exactly sure where she was going. Why didn't she just path out to her base? I don't know, but I think that would have been a better option. More aggression on the bot side.
Yeah, Purple Bear gonna get stunned this time. Hasn't used the ultimate just yet. Still has Featherstorm available. Blade Caller, I believe, was just used as well, so we'll have to retreat for now. Missing a lot of the actual utility, but in the meantime, Hulk manages to grab himself. Oh, flash forward from Luca as Purple Bear could manage to find the Blade Caller here onto 2, and it's a double kill for the Xayah. Immediately after the team loses Dragon, they pick themselves up 2 kills.
Nicely done. I mean, you just got to say the execution there was pretty flawless. I think that could have gone either way.
Ooh, a nice scat of the week from Raccoon will keep him alive for now, but the Lux ultimate going to be enough there as Danderous finds himself finally a kill in the mid.
As much as I said I hate this comp, well, what I said they needed to survive was to just kind of like trash the lane so hard that the game doesn't take that long. So far, they're doing exactly that. And I want to point out that this is... Oh no, it's a Comet Brand. Yeah, he's just getting a ton done. Zaun is still staying pretty relevant with his itemization, but yeah, you got to worry about that Purple Bear. That Xayah with 3 kills, 71 CS is kind of way ahead of the map in terms of gold. It looks like Poppy is going for Herald, which is good considering Dragon was already taken off the map by Hecarim solo. So it looks like they're at least able to get the other objective.
Yeah, and Hothouse Raccoon having just died as well meant that no mid priority for Hecarim to be able to contest at all. In the bot side, we see Purple Bear having backed, making his way towards that Essence Reaver. Still is going to be waiting on a few items until Zai becomes that true hyper carry that we had mentioned in Champion Select. But at this point, like you said, you're feeling really good about your chances because your lanes are smacking, and Biscuit's going to be forced to ult away in the top side, interrupted by Bandit, but still takes a nice chunk off of Gale Winds.
Absolutely. Look at that Lux, though. Lux in the mid lane, just using her ult to clear wave and get some damage onto the Syndra. And here we have Senna kind of soloing. Looks like we might see a dive here. Let's see what happens.
Hulk's shown up a little bit late. Rift Herald is going to get this tower, and Biscuits is quite low now. They can't afford to stay here for much longer. Bandit has decided to commit aggressively to the trade, walks himself all the way out of tower, and now Hulk needs to walk away himself as he's lit on fire. Astral, though, going to get rooted up by the Blade Caller. We see Purple Bear stunned for a little while off the Winter's Bite. Now is going to be walking himself away very slow in this bot side. Heal going to be forced out defensively from Purple Bear just to keep his support alive.
I will say with Syndra wrapping around the backside, there's a chance they might be able to get this dive done. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. Finds the stun there with the Scout of the Week. Should be able to pick up at least the Lulu. Stopwatch buys a little bit of time, and Purple Bear finds the Blade Collar, but it doesn't hit anything. The ultimate from the Syndra will grab him, and now it's Wongton just waiting for his demise under this tower here. They're going to be able to cut the minion wave short and just walk themselves over here. Luca actually tanking turret for now. Haven't finished off the Lulu yet. The jump out from Astral will keep him alive as teleport to the bottom lane from Brand. He's looking for something. Flashes forward onto Luca. Doesn't quite get the stun. Uses the ultimate there. And now is looking to maybe get out with his life after he's invested so much aggressively. Is he looking for Hothouse Raccoon? Forces the flash out of the mid laner. Luca in a little bit of trouble as he could be stunned by the Poppy, but Bandit is stunned himself. Now exceedingly low, has to get himself out. Channels the ultimate to keep himself alive. Gale Winds still playing very aggressively here, but doesn't have any ultimate to clean up all of these members. Will go down to Astral Lull finally.
Really nice kiting by Luca. ADC for Illinois JV, like really just... So in situations like that, it's a lot of ADC's impulses when they're low is not to like risk assess and figure out what they can do, but just to run. But every opportunity he got out of range, he was autoing. Every opportunity, you know, Brand is all skill shots. So if you're really quick on your feet, you can kind of stay toe-to-toe with him, even as a squishy ADC. And man, did Luca lay out the damage. He earned those kills and assists. And I think just played that really, really well. Yes, the wave position wasn't great. Yes, Srite is going to pick up some plates. It looks like there's only 2 left on that bot side tower. But that was I think exceptionally well played by the bot lane. Good roam by Syndra. Unfortunately, she didn't get the kills, and a lot of the gold is on Braum. But from a game that kind of looked a little bit like a runaway, they really kind of got back into it on that series. And I will say, I still feel like late game, the 4 squishy comp is going to run into trouble, particularly if they are unable to find 5v5 team fights. So hopefully they can kind of hang on until they hit their power spikes.
Yeah, it looks like we might see the bot lane in a little bit of trouble, though, and they might not be able to hang on for long enough. Blade Caller not going to do nearly enough in the top side. Biscuit's in a lot of trouble. In the meantime, Gale Wind's going to take him down along with Bandit, but in the meantime, double kill for the Senna down in the southern end of the Rift will clean up both the bot laners from Srite Gaming, and they're going to be able to start up this drain.
Absolutely, should be free. So Poppy and Brand are double teaming the Scion, the tank. And I just don't know how important that's going to be late game. That Scion maybe is missing a bunch of gold. Really, it looks like bot mid is really going to be where this game hinges on. Is your ADC going to get more fed? There's no assassins on either side. There's plenty of support for both teams. So I really feel like almost more than most, this is going to be a bot side, decided by kind of a bot side matchup. And both ADCs are kind of scaling and capable of carrying. But I really think they should be spending kind of more time. Like Scion, yeah, you got his turret, but he's just going to kind of sit back and farm. And in the late game, he's still going to soak a bunch of damage and ult, maybe knock some people up. But really, kind of the bot lane is really, you really want to invest your time and money and energy to try and keep those ADCs down, because I think they're going to get a little bit out of control. And the Drake pickup on the back of that double kill bot side, really important. Oh my goodness. So Poppy was, yeah, but she was scouted. They got a ward in the back brush, and they're going to come 4 for 3, and they're going to try and engage here. Here we go.
Yeah, they know all the variables. Your ultimate immediately used by Hulk to separate Spicy Wonton from his team. In the meantime, Purple Bear, the Feather Storm doing almost nothing as they fall immediately. Bandit going to be cleaned up for the final kill here. Gives the double kill over to Luca. And we see Illinois College coming out on top of that one.
Yeah, so that is the drawback of the comp, is that if you don't have a tank, Hecarim and Senna can just run straight at your carries. And it is hard for them to get anything done in fear for their life from 4 players. What happened? The ADC and the support evaporated in the blink of an eye, and then they took their time to kind of kill the Poppy. The other thing about Poppy is it's no Amumu. It doesn't have like AoE peel. It can't really protect you kind of over and over again, and kind of pin people down. So I really feel like they need to be aware of the limitations of their comp. I think this is a W.
Yeah, it certainly should be. Wonton not getting any tanker as the game goes on, and Dangerous might actually follow him. Ignite going to be used by the Braum, and barriers and flash going to be forced out of Dangerous. Not enough as the Dawning Shadow claps him one more time.
Yeah, what are you going to do about this bot lane? And yeah, Senna's 715, but in those fights, I think she only had 3 kills. She picked up 4 kills on this series. Oh, looks like a pick on this Syndrome.
Yeah, Gale wins, though, has a lot of gold in his pocket. Also going to force the barrier alone out of Hothouse Raccoon. Still has the flash available, so still a little bit more defensive than Danderous at this point. And looks for the scout of the week. Might pay for it with his life as Bandit hunting him down here is just going to pop straight onto him. Gale wins now, trying to contend with Hulk and Biscuits on his own. Srite do get a kill out of that, but they also deny the Rift Herald take that was going on.
Yeah, I don't know that they should have taken that fight, and they should probably not take this one without Senna.
Yeah, Bandit is going to be Wild Growth, so they actually buy quite a bit of time, and Purple Bear finds the route onto Biscuits, who's now looking for a way out on his own. Should be taken down here. Scion passive going to be popped, and I don't think he's going to be able to find anything onto Poppy. Not even the stun will it be, as Purple Bear manages to kite that one out, and now it's Rift Herald going over to Srite.
What a huge throw by Illinois. Come on, Illinois. You got a 7-1-5 Senna. You have 5 kills on the rest of the team. You are not ahead without the Senna there.
I was going to say fear not, Luca's here now, but he's gone very, very quickly. As Hulk soon to follow him. Astral trying to buy as much time as he can, but Bandit is right on top of them both. Braum lucky to get out with his life there as flashes the wall and actually secures Gale wins. Now Hothouse Raccoon has respawned, and it is now Srite that has to be on the retreat. Flash can be burned by Wongton. Flash still available for Hothouse Raccoon, but won't look for the Flash Scout of the Week. Doesn't want to risk not getting anything and burning the Summoner's Spell that otherwise could be very useful.
All right, super sloppy by Illinois. I feel like a nice job by Srite to take advantage of obvious weakness on the map. They don't have the Senna, you go in, and they were able to kind of kite the melee champs and pick off the Syndra. No Syndra, no Senna. I don't know how you expect to fight with a 0-3-4 Hecarim and a 0-3-0 Scion and a 5-2-7 dueling like the opponent team's strongest champions. I don't think so. It doesn't make any sense. You just need to fall back from that Herald and push other lanes and kind of get ahead where you can. So macro guys, you got to make sure you pick fights you want to pick fights that you have an advantage of, that takes advantage of your team comp. And right now, Illinois is all Senna, and they should be looking to kind of get in on the squishies and not look to fight like extended fights against the Poppy.
They could search for that. Oh, Luca actually. Oh my god, gonna be caught out as I literally choke on my words. Bandit almost goes down. But now it's Luca gonna be able to chase him down with the Glacial, slowing him up. We should be able to get this done here. They're not onto the squishies yet though. This Poppy buying a lot of time. Ultimate is gonna whip across 3 members here. Purple Bear barely getting out with his life there, sitting on just 700 HP, but Gale Wins has shown up, uses the ultimate. Doesn't find anything just yet. And now Biscuits is in the front line, and Purple Bear's trying to take him down. Does he have the damage? He's still sitting on quite low HP. Finally will be taken down with a double kill as Zaun swings his massive hammer. Galewind should go down just next here. Biscuit's burning down. I don't even think it'll be enough here as he should get out with that Abyssal Mask. Oh, barely manages to die, and a double kill for the brand is going to be the response. But it is 4 members all taken down on Srite Gaming. Illinois College solidly coming out ahead.
Yep, that was a much better fight. So in that fight, because Bandit, I have no idea why, he blast coned over to Krugs instead of going into the Dragon Pit. I thought for sure he was walking down to clear the blast cone to go to the Dragon Pit to take Drake. But instead, he blast cones over and completely walks into Senna and exposes himself and eventually feeds a kill over to Illinois Gaming. And then the resulting fight. I feel like Srite did really well in it. That was a no tank, full kite, full retreat. They ended up getting some kills back. Brand ended up being able to do some damage. And Lux ended up surviving, which I think is kind of a reasonable expectation for a fight that you don't have any tanks. Unfortunately, because they were left with only Lux, they gave up third Drake. So now we're on sole point for Illinois Gaming. And again, huge Senna. Some of the other champions on the team relatively weak, but even Zaun in that fight, he's still Zaun. He still got an ult off. He still chopped everybody up into the air. So like the early ganks, you know, they held him back from doing a lot of damage, but they didn't hold him back from providing the necessary CC and tank stats that they're looking for on the front line.
Yeah, and actually, as we sort of talk about that, because I think you're right. It was a very well executed fight by Srite, but they just didn't really have the ability to capitalize on when things were going really well for them. And I think that's partially due, in part, to Purple Bear not really being at the itemization point where Xayah comes online. Would you agree with that, at least?
I would agree. I mean, she's looking at 2 items with Essence Reaver and Phantom Dancer, but think about it. She was 3-1 about 6 minutes into the game, and here she is 3-4-5. So in the last like 8 minutes, she's done nothing but get weaker and weaker relative to the rest of the squads. Here we go, big fight mid.
Yeah, there's Hulk is already wiped off the map. Is on the side. Luca and Purple Bear were having a little bit of a squabble, and Purple Bear coming out on the losing end of that one. Doesn't have the sustain to provide to his team either. As much as Hulk is gone, we still have a Zaun available who has the ultimate to be able to join from the top side of the map. It's going to continue to push, and now it looks like Srite are realizing that they're not going to be able to find an engage.
It is difficult for them to find an engage. They can siege and poke and potentially look for picks, but it's difficult for them to actually get in on people. I feel like this is a good opportunity for Illinois, though, if they wanted to engage here.
Astral could have just engaged himself accidentally. Danderist almost goes down, pops the barrier defensively, but he will get out of that, and it just looks like Illinois College lose their support here. They could be losing their top laner as well. Ultimate going to be channeled from the Zaun, not going to be able to be interrupted. A nice wave clear from the Lux ultimate. The utility that provides actually buying Srite a lot of space in the mid lane.
It's good. It's good. Those picks are like keeping them alive. It's preventing them from losing kind of more turrets, and that mid lane still standing is like a big deal. But remember, I still feel like late game scaling is going to favor Illinois. We've got Adaptive Helm on Zaun, but he's still only at 1 item. I'm not entirely sure why he's going to build Sunfire Cape. It looks like that's what he's going to go to. I really think he should build Locket. Locket's great on Zaun. Some people say that's the only good MR item on him, and that would provide him a lot more resistance against a Brand and a Lux. Xayah at this point is really the only AD damage, and I suppose he probably does need to itemize somewhat since she's probably going to be hitting him more than anyone else. But really, all they have to do is hang out until they get their the next dragon up, and then they can potentially give themselves a huge advantage. We got 126 before it's up, but I think a lot of their champs are at a decent power spike. Hecarim finally got the world's latest Trinity Force, but he is going to be dealing out more damage and potentially one-shotting squishies, which is what you want. I mean, Hecarim can definitely get in on the back line. He's fast. He can get around the Poppy, and if he can get around and one-shot one person on the back line before he dies, it's going to be worth it. And we should see it around this next Drake, I think.
I certainly think so. I mean, if we don't see Srite contesting this, they're just giving an Ocean Soul all the way over to Illinois College. And as much as this game has been what I'll call relatively even, where we feel like Senna is ahead, but at the same time, Srite have their own win conditions, that would really close it out. And an Ocean Soul on top of an already fed Senna with a Scion that is only getting stronger, Hulk that's going to be sitting in the middle of your team. You really don't want that to happen, and Srite's going to be forced to fight around this next dragon, and they've got to find some way of picking or controlling the battlefield with Bandit. Looks like Hot Bath Raccoon could be the choice here. We still do have the slow available on Poppy. Ultimate from the Lux to get him quite low there. Purple Bear not even forced to use the ultimate. That is a super clean pick that is right around the dragon here at 10 seconds left on the spawn.
All right, they should not be contesting for this dragon. Guys, when you have 3 dragons and the opposing team only has 1, you do not contest for it. You can go for a steal if you want, but you should just be pushing other lanes, and it looks like they're doing a good job of this. Senna is staying mid, and they're going to take that pesky mid turret, which they've been having trouble with all game, and Scion is staying topside.
There we go. There's the keeper's verdict. Going to shove Hecarim all the way out of there, but they really trade up in that scenario. They get themselves the mid turret. Scion gets a lot of free farm in the top side, and it's really just one Ocean Drake, like you mentioned, that's given over.
Yeah, I mean, it is, not to say nothing about it, it is critical to stop Illinois from picking up Dragon Soul, but it does not change, like, the team fight dynamics and the power very much at all. And I got to give props to Illinois Gaming. Let me tell you, I see so many kind of mid-elo teams try and fight for Baron 4v5 when they're on Dragon Soul. It just feels so important. We're going to win the game if we can just get this one fight, and they end up handing over 4 kills and the dragon. So I think it's great that they showed patience, that they executed on good macro and took other objectives on the map other than the dragon. So really well played overall. I will also say that Illinois, I think, has slightly better rotations. They've been keeping Syndra in the bot lane, and she's been kind of able to push to turret, while Lux is kind of being forced to stay mid. Lux, obviously, a very heavy team fight-oriented mid laner with her shields. There's no point in having, you know, AoE shield spells if you're on your own in a side lane. But Syndra has a ton of potential to kind of one-shot under normal circumstances, when she's fed at least. So having her in the side lane makes a lot of sense. It's difficult to send one after her, and every single player, every single champion on that team is too squishy to really 1v1 her, except for Poppy. Right now, they rotated Scion bot, which I think is also okay, but I really prefer the Senna to be mid and the Syndra to be on a side lane. I think that just makes a lot more sense. Syndra doesn't really have a lot in terms of itemization. She's got Ludens and is working on Death Cap, but I think she'll obviously be a lot more threatening on Death Cap. Looking at items around the map, Lux does have Ludens and Death Cap, so she is going to be quite strong. And we've got 3 items on the brand, including the infamous Rylai's Leandries, which does an incredible amount of damage for Brand. And I actually think it's curious that Brand didn't go Dark Harvest. I'm used to seeing Dark Harvest brands, and they get disgusting in the late game. I just don't feel like Comet's going to scale as well. We're already at 27 minutes, and it looks like we're kind of in for a longer game. I think if you're going to run Brand in a game like this that's volatile, you might as well run Dark Harvest.
Yeah, and I think that kind of plays into exactly what you had mentioned when we saw the comment come out initially, and you were saying, well, this looks like it's most likely a pick for lane, and that's really all that it's coming out to be. Is we just managed to get a small little clip of Gale Winds landing nearly his entire combo onto Biscuits and it not breaking through his shield anymore. So at this point, Scion really not feeling the hurt anymore, but Purple Bear is still going to be feeling quite poor into Luca if he's going in 1v1.
Absolutely. That was an incredible crit out of Senna. Senna has 4 items. Mirror Mana, so fully stacked Mana Immune, Rapid Fire Cannon for the extra distance on that first auto attack, Yomu's Ghost Blade, and Dusk Blade. So she will, that first hit is going to be a monster hit, and you've got to kind of be prepared for it. And, but she also has like reasonable DPS in a fight with those items. So I actually think she's strong enough. If they can kind of look for something, they, you know, any of the squishies, if they can just get a fight, engage a fight without the Poppy.
Oh, Purple Bear actually goes quite low here, forced to use the Feather Storm early. Can he get away? Use the Blade Caller as well, and Spicy Wongton is down. Hulk manages to pick him up, and nobody on the Illinois College has died yet. Stun's going to connect. off of Gale wins, but Astral gonna get healed up as they retreat. They found themselves a pick onto the support, and now they can look to play pressure around this Baron. Lux also could get one shot here. Luca gonna pick that one up as now Bandit's getting run down. Hulk's just trying to stay in the middle of the enemy team here. He's so tanky, and with the heals coming in from the center, the damage coming in from the center, picks himself up a double kill here. It's now the jungler and the support that are missing, and instead of transitioning that into a Baron, it looks like Illinois want to transition that into a mid lane tower.
Yeah, I don't know that they'll be able to get it easily without that minion wave coming back. But they, that was a really nice fight, and if you lose the Poppy, I thought it was ridiculous that Srite stepped up after they lost their Poppy. Are you kidding me? You lose your only tank. Oh no, I suppose it wasn't their tank. Who got picked off first in that fight?
They lost Lulu.
Lulu. I mean, I guess you could step up with the Poppy, but really Lux was leading the way. Lux nearly got like melee with the Syndra. Obviously she landed a stun and they were able to like put an immense amount of damage on her, and the fight is like almost immediately lost in that moment. So I really think they need to like think about their engages. Losing a champ is not usually the best chance to go for it. This is a really bad brush bait here.
Yeah, but it's going to be all they need, right? Because Dragon is up and it's being taken down as we speak. Srite need to contest this, but I don't think they're going to be able to find their way in time. Gale Wind's going to be rooted up out here, and Ocean Dragon is going to be down before we see Srite enter even the river here. Now it's Purple Bear 1v1ing Hulk in the backside is so incredibly low before the shields come in, and Bandit is isolated all on his own. Wild Growth going to buy a little bit of time. Purple Bear uses the Feather Storm, doesn't have the Blade Color just yet, manages to root up 3, and Bandit might actually be able to get out of here just off the utility that the AD carry provided, but that's really all that Purple Bear is providing at this point, is nothing was able to get done in that fight.
I mean, it was not, I think, a bad fight on either team. So Poppy and Brand went in, and Hecarim went in, and so Poppy and Brand occupied 3 members of the team, because I guess Zaun was sorted with Hecarim for a while. And Hecarim actually does like a lot of damage, but he did try and take on 3, and it ended up costing him his life. But in the meantime, the Illinois College were able to get through Brand, and I really thought they were going to get through Poppy, but Poppy is a monster tank, got Stone Plate, got Cinderhulk, has Deadman's Plate, and working on even more armor, and was able to get away with the Lux shields and the utility from Purple Bear's snare. So, it just ended up being kind of a low kill moment, but I thought both teams actually played that reasonably well. Obviously, Illinois College came out on top because they got Dragon Soul, which is huge, Ocean Dragon Soul for them. And they will kind of be able to play for Dragon Soul when it pops up in 4 minutes, which will be an easy win condition, because any team with that just does such an incredible amount of damage for the time that it's up that it almost guarantees wins in team fights. As it is, they should be, and it looks like they are properly preparing for Baron, clearing out Vision, taking Scuttle, potentially looking for picks while Sion ends up bot side. I mean, look at this. Sion is pressuring bot side, and Lux is on the bot with no TP. They could easily start Baron here. Sion TP's in, and they have a 4v5. Fundamental rule of League, take fights when you're man up, don't take fights when you're man down, and using your TP in the side lane is definitely one way you can kind of achieve that. As it is, they're pushing mid lane with an eye on falling back to Baron, although Syndra looks like she's rotating. Maybe they're going to try a sneaky pick onto the Brand.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see here. I'm not really sure where exactly she's going, kind of wandering on the map. But I do think that Biscuit's lane assignment this game has been super crucial for Illinois College. He hasn't even needed to burn the teleport in the past couple minutes, showing up exactly when his team needs him. But his pressure on the opposite side of the map has already gotten them a top tier 1 and 2 bot turrets, maybe just the 1 at this point. Nonetheless, it has been super relevant, the fact that he's able to just continually push up, create pressure, and deny gold even from the side of Srite Gaming as they try and contest 4 members.
Absolutely. Here we go, Death Brush.
Yeah, Bandit is very tanky, but I think very much dead here as we see the Hecarim already on top of Purple Bear, and that's going to be enough to contend with. There's the Xayah there. Spicy Wongtan suddenly finds himself without purpose. No Xayah to buff up means nothing to do, realistically. Bandit still has not gone down. Hulk pushes him back into 4 members of the team, saying, please die already. And finally, we'll see the Poppy obliged. Astral flashes forward, and Hothouse Raccoon manages to clean up. Gale wins, but it is a conclusion to the game long foregone here. The Baron bait ends up being enough. They pick off 3 members, and now this should be the game going over to Illinois College.
Absolutely. They've got 5 strong against Lulu and Lux, who are just not going to have the wave clear. They're not going to have the damage. I do think that they spent like a lot of time trying to hurt that Poppy, and really they didn't need to. They can just run through and annihilate the squishies. But they ended up being able to execute. I will say from a KDA perspective, Illinois College had kind of a mixed game, 24 kills, 20 deaths. Certainly could have been played cleaner in terms of 1v1 and 2v2 in the side lanes and kind of giving up kills. But when you want to, but the important things, they all came together for Illinois. They picked up every Drake except for one, really got picks when they needed to. Rotation and macro, side laning, all looked pretty solid. And then quite frankly, they drafted a team comp that works. Hecarim with some late game dive potential, Syndra who can one shot, and an ADC who can kind of continually dish out damage. Srite, still think that the initial complaints I had during Champion Select were valid. They drafted a extremely squishy 4 backline with a Poppy in front, and just were not able to kind of freely engage in a fight where they feel like they could win. They were always on the back foot. Purple Bear was constantly retreating, not able to deal like maximum damage. I know he's got Jhin under his belt, and if you're going to play that kind of like pick, peel, runaway comp, I think Jhin is able to dish out damage from a distance that Xayah just really can't touch. Maybe Trist or Ez, someone with a jump might better suit. A jump on a cool, better reset. But I'm really hoping that they pick something else in the top lane. Like with a squishy top laner, I feel like the comp really just fell apart, and I hope that they can just pick with a little bit more balance, because, you know, even a Champion Select, we looked at this and we said, if it goes to 30, it's going to be Illinois.
Yeah, and I think that trying to get the Xayah pickup was a really interesting thing, because they're saying, hey, the rest of our team, we're going to dominate lane, and we're really going to have the Xayah to pick up late game. But by the time late game came around, the actual, even though they didn't have a hyper carry, the actual composition scaling from Illinois College completely overrode the fact that Xayah now did a bunch of damage, because she never got the chance to, because compositionally there wasn't space created for her. And I think what I'd like to see Srite Gaming do as we move into game 2 is pick up something that's a little bit easier to execute, that's a little bit more standard, so that they know how to control a fight as we do hit those later stages of the game, because Illinois certainly able to stall it out.
Absolutely. It was definitely a long game Illinois favored. Maybe they could pick something else at the support role. Like, even if they had something like a Nautilus who can just like sit there in front and stop the Hecarim from running you over, so that Xayah could kind of lay down some damage and then re-engage onto the rest of the team, maybe that would have made a difference. Because I feel like the Lulu evaporated in every team fight and was like required heals from the ADC, required peel, and was not really providing the kind of utility you want Lulu to provide, which is like a timely ult while your ADC is dealing damage to keep them alive. It was more ulting herself and, you know, haphazardly running around, dropping her spells in places where they weren't able to really lay down the damage.
Yeah, that was a really thrilling game, though. I really enjoyed seeing how both teams played it out in a game where it really wasn't something that anybody would have expected going in. So I look forward to seeing how the teams turn it around in game 2, especially Srite, who are looking to keep themselves inside of this best of 3. We're going to take a short break, and then we're going to pop right back in with the pro draft of game 2 to see which side ends up taking the second game and perhaps the series. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Style Esports Season 5, where we're bringing you the second game of Illinois College versus Srite Gaming. My name is Diatraba. I am joined by our magical Merlin here on the desk. And after a little bit of an unconventional game one, we see both teams electing not to swap sides. And Merlin, I was wondering what you think about that.
So Srite had the option as the team that lost game one to switch sides, and quite frankly, if you look at like win rates across the board, blue side is just a little bit stronger. I think it has to do with ease of access to Dragon and Baron, and maybe jungle pathing from bot side to top, which is like the dominant pathing these days because of the leech bot lane. But for whatever reason, Srite decided not to prioritize the blue side, instead preferring to take last pick. I will say that's fine, but you really want to dumpster whoever you're counter picking. The point of going red side is to counter pick their mid laner or their top laner with someone that's just so atrocious. You go up 3 kills and 20 CS at 8 minutes. And if they're not able to execute on that, and you're just going to kind of pick farmy lanes like Lux, I really think you're better off maybe picking blue side. As it is, we do have some changes in bans. They ended up banning the Senna, Srite did, which means that Illinois College gets the Caitlyn. I don't hate it. The Senna was disgusting, and you do not want to run back a draft where one player like completely takes over the game like the Senna did and deals incredible amount of damage and kind of carries the game. So I kind of like that they were like, okay, you beat us on Senna, show me you can do it on Kate. Unfortunately, Kate is a very strong champ, and I think it's quite possible that he'll show you he can do it on Kate now. So I'm excited to see how it goes. We got Morgana supporting the Kate, so if she maxes bind first, it's plenty of time for Kate to get a trap down on top of a Morgana bind in lane that will almost certainly result in a kill. I will say that combo, though incredibly potent, is somewhat difficult to pull off. Caitlyn's traps are not super long range. She's got to be relatively close to the bind in order to get her trap down in time for it to activate, and the positioning is kind of finicky. It's easy to miss. On the Srite side, we have Swain, which is again an unusual pick back to Thresh. It primarily used as support, but with the Thresh, you wouldn't think that's support. It could be another top lane. We had a top lane brand last time, and it's possible that we are looking at Swain on the top side, which I think is better because Swain is a lot tankier, a lot more robust, and I can potentially see that providing a lot more utility and a better team fight mechanic for Srite. And they go Ez, which I talked about last match as potentially kind of a safer, stronger pick who can kind of get away if you're worried about people diving in or if you're super squishy. So I don't actually hate the Ezreal either.
And I like this. This last pick is actually, I was a little bit concerned because you gave over Caitlyn first pick as Srite, right? They let them have the Caitlyn, and you say you have to dumpster whoever it is if you end up last picking. And with the Lissandra, they do heavily counterpick the Zed in that mid lane.
Yeah, I actually don't like opening the Zed blind. Zed is incredibly strong, but he can be beaten. He can be outplayed. So I you got to be really confident with your Zed to be able to blind that. Lissandra has a ton of CC, which is exactly what you don't want to run a Zed into. So that is definitely an unfavorable matchup. She also has Hecarim to back her up, which is a nice combo. If Lissandra can land some CC, Hecarim can deal the last bit of damage if she ends up falling short. I do hope she runs TP over Ignite because you want her to be able to get back to lane for sure. And on the top side, we've got a Maokai, who is, I think, really strong, good front laner. Also a decent two-man with Olaf. I feel like their 2v2 against Swain Hecarim, which I assume is the top lane and the jungler, is going to be better. So it's a potential point of strength for Illinois College on that top side. I think Srite takes the mid lane in terms of priority and strength, and then again, Illinois College against the Thresh Ezreal. I think even the Thresh is in play as a melee or mostly melee farmer, melee support. He's going to be kind of frontlining a little bit, and if Morgana can land a bind and Kate a trap, I think they can do some serious damage. Probably combo them out in 2 rotations, maybe. Whereas Ez is not going to be like throwing out the damage anywhere in the early game to be able to counter that. So we're looking at some heavy priority from Illinois College. I am a huge fan of Olaf. What do you think about Olaf?
I like the pick because of the general utility that it provides. In terms of team composition, I do think it's difficult to find a place where he slots in nicely. And this composition is one where I feel like Olaf could be a lot of other bruisers and be a little bit more useful. What's really going to shine about him is if we see Illinois College start to take over in the early game, when Olaf is going to have the actual advantage into a hack room.
Right. I mean, I love Olaf exiting at 305, full clear, level 4 at full health. And that is like the power point. The counters to that are invades by top or jungle while he's low, clearing raptors or Krugs. I don't know that they will necessarily spare someone to try and get that invade done, but I do love him as a champ because he just gets so strong without really interacting with the map for a while. I actually think in this game he's pretty bad. So there's nothing better than Olaf when you're facing like an incredible amount of CC. Malzahar, Vigar, stuff like that. But in this particular situation, you're running through Thresh and Lissandra. It's not like an incredible amount of CC. So his ult isn't going to be maybe as useful as it would be in other matchups. And then Olaf and Morgana is inherently a bad pairing because Ragnarok requires no black shield. They are kind of like redundant abilities. And of course, Morgana can shield off the Zed or the Kate. But it would be, I think, a better pick if you wanted to go like Warwick or Trundle. Because then with the black shield, you've got the same utility as Olaf has running through without being able to be CC'd. But then you've got an ultimate, whereas Olaf has used his. So, you get Warwick through the Thresh at Hecarim and he ults onto the Ezreal. That's probably it for your ADC. So I'm not a huge fan of Olaf in this game, despite being a huge fan of him overall.
Yeah, I do want to say that as much as you are running through Thresh and Lissandra, Hecarim and Swain are also going to be very relevant when we start looking for picks on Srite. And if you as Olaf want to feel maybe comfortable along with that Maokai fielding skill shots, looking for engages onto the opposing composition, the ability to insta-negate CC is going to be super valuable. And maybe we see somebody like Hulk really trying to take the fight after we see Srite having expended a lot of CC abilities to try and catch him out.
Yeah, I can believe it. I also want to make sure that Illinois College, I hope they build executioners. They're going to need it. Swain has an incredible amount of healing in his kit, and so does Hecarim. They don't have an explicit healer like a Senna or Soraka out on the map, but cutting through that Swain is going to be a lot more difficult if you don't have executioners calling on somebody or some sort of heal cut somewhere. Yeah, so first of all, I think the matchup here from pick ban is much more even. Srite has a legit chance kind of at all phases of the game. I really thought that their first draft was like a bit weak and maybe not well thought out, but this draft looks a lot more consistent and a lot more stable. And remember, Srite nearly pulled it out last match despite having like a huge amount of kind of team comp lack of cohesive team comp. So I am wondering whether with this team comp, if they can still execute on their team fights and get those early leads, if they'll be able to convert it this time because they've got kind of a much stronger comp. So yeah, I'm really excited to get into the match, and we'll see how we'll see what we see. We'll see who comes out on top.
Yeah, well, I'm really looking forward to it as well, and I already know that I'm going to have a question for you as soon as we get onto Summoner's Rift, because I see Purple Bear on a Hecarim while we're loading in, and I can't wait to address that. We're going to have to wait just a little while before we do, as we get into the Rift and we get back into the conversation. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second game of Illinois College versus Srite Gaming. If you caught game one, you'll know that this was a really exciting matchup where we saw Srite pull out a lot of unconventional play, and I'm expecting game two to be very similar in the way that they play their tempo. But before we get into that, I am joined by Merlin. And Merlin, I have a question to ask you about Purple Bear, because we saw him play the AD carry role last game, and this time he's swapping into the jungle.
Absolutely. So this is purely a role swap, and you are allowed to role swap in style. You are allowed to swap in the LCS. When you are lining up in LCS order, that's your main role. But you guys can play anywhere you want. And in fact, in the LCS, periodically you do see role swaps. It's uncommon because people specialize so much that you only see it like once every 5 or 6 years. But once in a while, somebody's got a champion who absolutely completely dumpsters another champion, or there's like some reason why you want to swap roles, and so it happens. In lower leagues, I think it should happen even more than it does. So here's the scenario: you got Purple Bear, who's the diamond player. Ooh, we've got a late invade. This could be great.
Yeah, I really
Uh,
like this from Illinois College, especially with the level 1 Olaf. They could be looking for something here. Now, yeah, there we go. They're going to round the wall there. Hulk is going to be spotted. First axe going to land onto 2. He's chasing down Purple Bear instead of turning onto the camp here. They don't want to get this smited away, and they got to be a little bit careful. Hecarim poking his head in is going to be zoned out by Luca here. Hecarim completely denied his first camp, but now Spicy Wonton burning the Ignite, wants to try and find Hulk. Danderist also is walking over here. Flash can be burned by Hulk to get out of there, but net trade up here for Srite Gaming as they, or sorry, for Illinois College as they walk in and deny the Hecarim a good start.
That was the strangest invade ever. I swear Morgana had like a clean shot at a bind coming from the fog of war or after Olaf landed his axe, and I thought for sure that was at least one kill.
Spicy Wonton, though, he might be the kill here. Flash forward from Astral will secure him, and that's the first blood going over the Morgana. Think about this. It's a massive invade onto Hecarim, followed by first blood onto the Luca Astral bot lane. This is going crazy good for Illinois.
Oh my gosh, it's great for Illinois. And like I said, like, yeah, Luca was able to do it on the Senna, and you're asking him to do it on a different champ, and I think he's going to show you. That level 1 kill was perfectly executed. That was Morgana bind onto Kate trap. It was perfectly timed, and that's not easy to do. They've got a huge lead. They're going to take a plate in the first 3 minutes, and you're just going to be perma push. Oh my gosh, we got a trap.
Yeah, Ezreal stepping on a trap. They're going to be falling super low. Ends up arcane shifting away and still eats the tilt over Peacemaker. And this spot lane is exactly why you pick Caitlyn. 100% Luca is feeling perfectly enabled to take over the game right now.
Absolutely. All right, we never finished the conversation about Purple Bear. So Purple Bear is the diamond player on the team, and he just wanted to get free on the map because he didn't feel like he could get a big enough lead to carry the game against Luca and Astral, because even with those early kills last game, he still wasn't able to kind of carry the game the way he wanted. So I think it makes a lot of sense to transition in Hecarim into the jungle, where he can potentially carry the game. But Illinois College read it perfectly. They said, okay, their diamond's in the jungle. How do we put him so far behind that he can't take us all apart? It's by getting that level 1 camp steal. He's level 2, just hit level 3 on bot Scuttle, and has, let's see, 16 CS to Olaf's 25. This should be a really good gank because bot side's not warding properly. Let's see what they can do.
This gank should be it. Nice Black Shield is going to save Luca for a little while. Trap actually connects onto Purple Bear, and Spicy Wongton doesn't manage to land his own hook as Gale wins. Once again, dominating the top side here. Managed to grab the kill literally onto Biscuits as Maokai falls. And there was a gank in the bot side, but it was the top side that really got the advantage there.
It's a great 1v1 by the Swain. He's still got his TP. Of course, Maokai has that TP, and Olaf's getting a really, like, overly bold invade here.
Olaf doesn't have flash just yet, and maybe an overly aggressive invade just means that first collapse is able to be had by Srite Gaming. Olaf goes down and donates a kill over to the Hecarim.
Awful choice. Like, your win condition at this point is your Kate Morgana bot lane, and the only thing you need to do, and to keep the Hecarim down, and the only thing you need to do is to farm your jungle. Olaf is a fantastic farmer. He clears incredibly fast because of his attack speed buffs when he runs low health, and he's got 3 camps up. There's no need to get aggressive and steal your opponent's camps. I mean, I guess from a macro perspective, he's still trying to execute on the let's make sure Hecarim never outscales the rest of the map plan. And I guess I don't hate it that way, so I can understand it that way. But it even if you're going to execute on that strategy, you still have to make sure that you don't die in the jungle, because that's, you know, a double whammy of gold for him, less pressure on the map, puts you behind. So, you know, maybe the macro was fine and the micro really needed a little bit of work. But
Ooh. I think he just goes down here. Hasn't hit the level 6, and Hothouse Raccoon flashes forward for the final auto there, secures the kill, and is completely safe in the mid lane.
yeah, that was really odd. Does Lissandra ult negate the Zed ult? I assume it does.
She doesn't have ult.
She didn't have ult when it was up? Oh, she's
level
5.
5.
All right, so I don't understand why Zed burned his flash. I mean, I think she was gonna die to Zed's ult, but he flashed to like auto her down before his ult popped. So I don't know, but this mid lane is not working out the way Srite would have wanted. So if, again, like we talked in Champ Select, you get that last pick and you're doing the counter picking. You want to be the one dumpstering your opponent, putting pressure on, pushing the turret, getting kills, getting CC. As it is, Zed's up 22 CS and a kill.
And 0 Dark Harvest stacks because Dandurus took Dark Harvest for a reason.
Yeah, it's a bad mid lane, and a bad bot lane, down 26 CS. Olaf's up 13 CS despite giving over some kills that were maybe unnecessary. A lot of the map is going really well for Illinois College.
Yeah. Even though we talked about in Champion Select, right, that Srite actually had gotten themselves a good draft and we really liked this out of them, it looks like the comfort is really favoring Illinois College this game, and Srite may be looking a little bit out when it comes to just fundamental League of Legends play.
Absolutely. We're looking at the 4th plate for Caitlyn here. She has a 1k gold lead on the Ez. And remember, Ez is a scaling champ. He's got tier. He's got no combat items. He's not going to do any damage. And Illinois College already picked up first Drake. So they're already got a soul win condition. First Drake was Ocean Dragon. So, you know, I think everything is going their way. They've got a 1.7k league, but I think that really like understates their strength on the map, given the kind of late game scaling of some of the Srite champs. I'm really hoping Purple Bear can make something happen. He's got level 5, almost level 6, and once he hits level 6, I'm hoping he can get a gank off, get some kills.
He should be able to. Spicy Wonton, though, looking for Hothouse Raccoon. Doesn't have the flash available, but does have the ultimate. Is going to be returned ultimate by Lissandra. She's got that one this time, and I don't think he's going to be able to find the kill onto Spicy Wonton. Does dash back to the shadow, though, and should be able to get out here. Somehow manages, with a sliver of HP, to survive Thresh Lissandra. Still sitting a level up on this Lissandra, as well as Olaf. He's walking into the mid lane. Hulk wants to find Dandurus here. He knows no ultimate is available, but the lantern from Spicy Wongton at least going to keep his mid laner alive for a little while.
Okay, Olaf should farm that wave. That's a giant wave. Where are you going, Olaf? You got to take the wave and cover when your mid laner roams.
He's got a jungle, dude. He's got...
Oh no, I hate it. You gotta take the wave. That mid wave is a gift. You gotta take it. I love the Thresh roam. Thresh roaming when he can't get anything done bot because Caitlyn's already killed you too many times and you're just miserable. I think is a great plan. Zed, insanely hard to gank. Just super hard to gank. And they nearly got it done, which I thought was great.
I think Dandurus just dies here. Oh no, the ignite might not... Oh my god, it was enough! The level disparity, it was just too strong. Hothouse Raccoon finds himself another kill.
Nicely done. Hothouse Raccoon. We didn't call his name much last game, but he is making it happen here on the Zed. Got to point out the macro. when you take first turret bot side, you have got to rotate your bot side top. Do not sit them bot side to farm and push and sit around and wait for waves to get to their turret. No, put on some pressure. So I really think it's great that they rotated Kate and Morgana up. It looks like Srite is correctly going to leave Ez in the bot side just to farm. But Maokai's like perfectly happy to let the wave push to him and take the farm while his top side potentially takes another turret and gets another set of plates and just gets farther and farther into the late game. We also have Olaf taking Herald, second Drake up in 30 seconds. It looks like they're going to go ahead and try and pop this top turret and then rotate for Drake if I'm imagining correctly.
There was a lot of time invested there by Purple Bear. They have to get this kill. Biscuit's looking for Bandit here. Does manage to get a little bit of health back. Heal going to be forced out of Bandit ultimately. Gale wins in a lot of trouble in the top lane. Thank God they get that kill bot, because otherwise Purple Bear just hung out there for at least a minute for nothing.
Right. I mean, at this point, the timing is awful. I don't know that Illinois Gaming know how to get the Herald in at the right time. But they finally got it in, and now they can engage. And even though it was super sloppy, I still think it's probably going to work.
Yeah, it is a double kill and the turret in top lane. Even though maybe a little bit of misexecution there, they still managed to really trade up onto Srite Gaming.
All right, Hecarim is stuck bot side, taking one plate for 180 gold, when what he needs to do is be on Dragon to prevent Dragon Soul.
This is weird for Illinois College, right?
Well, they have Herald. So with Herald, you can go ahead and just keep pushing turrets, and the gold / macro pressure is pretty good.
What Hecarim? What? I don't like
you could just have Zed rotate down and take care of Dragon anyway. So, you know, why only take one turret when you could take one turret, one kill, and eventually Dragon?
Yeah, this is nice. Knowing that they have the mid lane pressure here, they send Hothouse Raccoon down. He punishes Hecarim, who's now trying to take the dragon maybe a little bit late. And now Bandit could be in a little bit of trouble. Bind will miss, and Olaf doesn't have Ragnarok just yet. The Black Shield is going to prevent any additional CC from following up onto him. But now that the reset has come in, Caitlyn has Infinity Edge. Berserker's Graves is going to start pushing down this mid lane. And now we should see Olaf be able to take what looks to be their second Drake of the game.
5,800 gold on the Caitlyn compared to 3,400 gold on the Ezreal. There's just like no question that this Caitlyn can do whatever she wants. The Zed also 3-0 has a completed Youmuu's. Both of those champs are, you know, heavy AD and going to deal out immense amounts of damage. And if you look at Srite, they don't have like a pure tank. There's no, you know, super tank that just builds a ton of HP and kind of sit there in the front line forever, although even those kind of tanks would have trouble against the kind of gold that they have fed into this Kate and this Zed. But I really think from a comp perspective, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, it is about a 5k gold lead right now, and there's a color caster that I work with frequently named Mitt, and he's fond of saying that 5k is all you need to close out the game, but not if Luca is getting caught out like that. Nice death sentence from Spicy Wongton will be able to get them a little bit of gold. It's not a shutdown onto the Caitlyn, importantly, because she wasn't in any means fed via kills, but still will be really important to be able to keep Luca at least down and maybe closer to where the Ezreal is at.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to make a difference, but it is pretty sloppy for Luca to be kind of that close to the Ezreal after Black Shield is down. One of those key abilities that separate kind of like gold plat from higher elos is the ability to play around cooldowns. So knowing when your opponent has their stun, knowing when they have their dash and can escape, is super important kind of to push up to those higher elos. But beyond that, knowing when your teammates' key skills are down and what you need to do to play around your teammates' key skills. Is Vigar's Cage down? Is Syndra's Stun down? Is Morgana's Black Shield down? If it is, maybe you can't step up aggressively. Maybe you don't want to play the fast feet dance. Here we go top side for a gank onto the Maokai.
Biscuit's got a nice step away there. Purple Bear, though, managed to follow up onto him, and Gale wins. Certainly going to be able to keep up with the Maokai. This is what Swain excels at doing, so they are going to be finding themselves another kill into the side lane where Biscuits has once again found himself in a difficult position. But it is the teleport invested off the Swain for that as well. And it's just for that single pick. Hothouse Raccoon looking for Darndarist. Has forced the retreat out of the Lissandra, but is really hard to kill her. But now Luca being searched for again. Purple Bear gonna go down. It looks like Black Shield was available with the Ghost, has managed to get himself to safety. This should be the turret going down very soon, at least as Bandit falls so low. Hothouse Raccoon is here for the cleanup. There's the ultimate channel from the Caitlyn. Doesn't manage to find anything as Wongton peels for his AD carry with his very life. And that is finally the mid lane turret falling in the favor of Illinois College.
I can't believe Zed didn't dive in. Are you kidding me? Zeds have such big eyes. They see two champs with low health bars like that. I cannot believe he didn't try some sort of dive.
This guy can't be a Zed player, dude. I know, Zed players go for those.
Totally go for those. And quite frankly, you know, I know he doesn't have flash. Here's Caitlyn pushing too far again. Doesn't look like it's going to cost her. But it is possible for Zed to kind of get in and out of there with 2 kills. I really wish they would just stuff Zed in a side lane. There is no one on that team that can 1v1 the Zed. Lissandra is struggling mightily. Yes, she has built Ninja Tabi and Seeker's Arm Guard, so she is incredibly weak and will not deal any damage. And I just think that Zed can 1v1 her all day long. And when I say push a side lane, I just don't mean like get a wave and have it eat a wave of minions and then hit the turret. No, I mean pressure the turret. Like make them send somebody to stop you. Maokai is overextending again topside. Not good. You don't want to continually overextend and beat kills. That's one way to
play up though. The double root is going to land onto both the Swain and the Hecarim. Now it looks like we're going to get the flash forward from Hulk onto Purple Bear. They should be able to take him down, but can they then take down Gale Winds, who's looking massive right here? Flash forward from him to secure Biscuits. The Swain out's going to pop right about now. There we go. Doesn't manage to secure Biscuits, but will manage to grab Hulk, and Astral has joined him up in the top side. Luca following as well. Hothouse Raccoon is all alone with Dandarist in the bot side here. Could look for a kill, but he has to play around that Lissandra. No matter how ahead he is in terms of items, the Lissandra will be able to save her and potentially put Zed in danger.
For sure, for sure. At this point, once you've kind of pushed it to turret, if she steps out of turret range, you can potentially harass. But otherwise, I mean, just look at that damage. Otherwise, rotate to mid and try and get a pick off mid. At this point, there's a little bit of a lack of pressure. There's a little vacuum because Caitlyn and Morgana are taking Herald, so he does have to back off. But I swear, there's no one that can stand up to this Zed. And it is, like, incredibly powerful to push a side lane to turret over and over again and to threaten a kill. And I think that that is the way you really need to play it. And quite frankly, most people play that too conservatively. Zed's got escapes. I really think he should play it aggressively. Here they go in for the gank. We'll see if he can make it work.
Yeah, the escape's not going to mean as much onto Lissandra there, who is just going to be able to root him up and take him down with the help of Purple Bear, who has joined him. It is 2 people committed into the top, or into the bot side though, and specifically into a lane. So Illinois College know that they can take this 3rd Drake of the game, putting themselves that much closer to Mountain Soul.
Yep. So I prefer, if you're playing side lane, you definitely want to make sure that you have some sort of ward coverage around blue so you don't get picked off like that. But I also wish that he had kind of fully committed the previous time he chunked Lissandra to like 300. That is definitely within kill range. Yes, you've got to worry about the ult, but if you can bait out the ult, I think you could probably still go back in with your own ult after it's down and secure the kill without taking too much turret aggro. So, you know, maybe Zed is vulnerable against Lissandra and can't kind of push the way I'm kind of hoping for him to. But at this game, I don't hate the patient game. We've got Dragon Soul up in 4 minutes. It'll be Mountain.
Gale wins. He does not want to be caught out here. Morgana going to grab him, and a Caitlyn trap going to land. He fortunately has a lot of health, and Luca doesn't know the Hecarim is here. Purple Bear is going to force the flash out of Luca, but now it's a trap laid in front of anyone who wants to be able to get on top of him. Gale wins, does go quite low, still hasn't called down. Flash forward from Hothouse Raccoon still doesn't go down as he ports back to the shadow from before. Bandit in a lot of trouble as Luca's walking him down. Can't land the skill shots through Astral as he body blocks for his AD carry. And now we have this Olaf walking down Danderish, this guy does not need to be afraid of any Lissandra ultimates at all. And it is the power of that Olaf that manages to win a fight on the bot side, making this a completely winning map for Illinois College. And they shove down the mid lane.
Nicely done. Yeah, if Lissandra is side laning, Olaf can absolutely 1v1 her. She has no damage and will not be able to beat kind of a sustained damage champ. They've got to be a little worried mid lane, but I would have walked that Herald in. We're still talking about a very strong Kate, and getting that Herald to chunk the inhib, I think that there was a chance you could have taken that, although, you know, there's nothing wrong with playing smart and being safe when you know that they're going to be up soon. It is certainly like a very frequent mistake for teams to overstay. Let's see if this Olaf can survive with no mana and no Ragnarok.
Yeah, he doesn't have the Ragnarok available just yet. It should be another pick in the side lane. Unfortunately, no objectives are on the map, and so we will see Hulk going down. A little bit more gold injection into this Lissandra, but hasn't yet hit her initial items, and I'm really looking for perhaps the scaling to start to come in for Srite, because Illinois College are making enough missteps that we can start to see the armor items stack up into what is a very low magic damage composition from Illinois College, and Srite to be able to play these team fights at a level that they feel comfortable winning.
It's true. I didn't think about that, but Illinois College does have a very low magic damage comp. Normally when you see Zed in the mid lane, you're looking for the Mordekaiser top or Echo Jungle, something to complement.
They've seen him. Biscuits knows it's over. Doesn't have the flash just yet. Luca's joining him, though, and they could look to turn this one around. The crit is huge onto Gale Wins, but Luca needs to get a heck out of dodge. Biscuits taking up so much damage. He was the one caught out, and he will be the one to fall. Gale Wins, though. Huge crit from Luca will take him down. And now it's going to be another one straight onto the Lissandra, who jumps onto Luca's face. Can't get anything done. Bandit has almost no HP. He's basically a minion to Hothouse Raccoon at this point. Triple kill for the Olaf, and Purple Bear, suddenly the last member left alive on what looked like a delicious pick, has turned into 4 kills lost for Srite Gaming. Now the Baron going over to Illinois College.
Yeah, this game is all but done from Illinois College's perspective. So it looks like the Maokai is like a clean pick. But again, in terms of like macro strategy, this is the same thing Srite did last time, where they put a lot of energy into trying to hold down the Scion, trying to hold down a full tank top laner. And it doesn't really matter. Like, I don't care that the Maokai's 1 and 4. He's got his adaptive helm. He's still going to ult. He's still going to CC. He's going to eat a bunch of damage. And he's going to take forever to die. So, like, they're not advancing their game state, really, by getting the Swain ahead and the Hecarim ahead, unless the Hecarim can convert it to other lanes, which he was not able to do. Lissandra is ridiculously way behind with her 1 stack Rod of Ages at 22 minutes and a Seeker's Arm Guard, compared to Zed working on his 3rd item.
Oh, it wasn't quite big enough. I thought it was going to be absolutely massive. Luca is really looking massive. He's got himself 2 items now, working on his 3rd, which I wonder if he goes for the Rapid Fire Cannon to exacerbate his strengths, or whether he chooses maybe something a little bit different, like the Phantom Dancer, to protect himself from the dive.
I mean, Caitlyn actually falls off in the mid game. She has a monster early game, and she has a monster like 4 or 5 item late game. But her mid game is not great. You would expect a lot of carries with kind of an early 3 kill lead to be able to convert that.
No,
all right, this time Maokai's dead.
This time they get it, but look at the other side of the map. Olaf is already on the Mountain Drake, and by collapsing with 4 members, they've given up soul.
And inhib. It looks like Illinois Gaming has correctly rotated to get the inhib. They may have to fight their way out, and they should not press forward, but they should just take this and back.
Yeah, they got to be a little bit careful here. Lissandra looking to walk forward is going to be stopped by the Morgana, though. Hothouse Raccoon gets the Black Shield, but that will mean that Astral is the one that's caught out. Soul Shackle's going to root up 1, but he's very much dead himself, and he's traded back with the best CC there is, the final death there. Now it looks like we're going to get Illinois College pushing for the last bit of the game, though. Bandit once again should go down here. Hothouse Raccoon manages to get away just barely. Galewin's not able to find the kill, but he's certainly going to find some form of death as Luca crits him directly to the face in melee range with a giant time cannon. And this game's looking pretty over for Illinois College. They're pushing down the Nexus turrets, and with Purple Bear and Danderous here, I'm really not sure that there is a winning fight to be found.
No, the Zed and the Caitlyn both got really strong. Their mechanics are good enough that they're gonna stay safe. I don't think there's any way out.
Oh my
I
god.
will say that Zhonya's is worthless against the Caitlyn.
Yeah,
Like
in this case, it really just does mess you up
it
more.
it doesn't do anything, and I really think people need to stop building Zhonya's against Kate. Like even if
Illinois.
that's even if that's your normal item, it's just garbage against the comp. You got to recognize that. You got to make adjustments. I know Lysandra and Swain both like stopwatch, but it's just no good in this scenario. So really nice game, Illinois Gaming. It was a bit of a sloppy match in the first game, and they were able to come out on top. I think largely due to their team comp. This game was much cleaner. Still not perfect, but much cleaner. Again, good team comp. Lucas showing he can do it on multiple champs. Hot House Raccoon, love that Zed. Incredible amounts of damage into a counter pick where your opponent got to choose his champ after, and still able to hold it down. Maokai, good job eating incredible amounts of jungle pressure and giving up meaningless kills on their side of the map when you're not really losing any farm anyway. So yeah, I think Illinois Gaming played that really well. On the flip side, I feel like the Swain and the Brand were bright spots. For Srite, I feel like the Brand got way more done than I expected him to. And I think that they just need a little bit cleaner execution, and they definitely struggled in that bot lane. Purple Bear was the diamond ADC. He held his own. He even got an early lead. But the flips, the jungle to ADC role swaps did not pan out the way they had wanted. Mostly because of that level 1 engage. Really clever work on the part of Illinois Gaming. But they did not get a fed Hecarim who took over the game like they had hoped, and Ezreal was not able to kind of survive the early game and scale into the late against such a lane dominant Caitlyn Morgana, one of the best duos in the bot lane right now.
Yeah, that was, I think, really good fundamentals from Illinois College that ended up pulling it out, because we saw Srite actually be able to play their odd composition in game 1 with a pretty high level of competence. But it was really once we popped into more fundamental play, that the gap between them and Illinois College today was very, very much more clear. Illinois College had really clean macro rotations. They were playing the game on a really big level, as well as executing on a very micro one, with Hot House and Luca being honestly the highlights of that. But then, once we started getting into that mid game, they were able to constantly trade up, and it felt like Srite was just falling further and further behind. So I'd like to see, as we develop the strength in these rosters as the season goes on, to see Srite work a little bit more on those big picture plays, so that they can start to face up against teams like Illinois College with their comps that honestly don't look that bad.
Right, I agree. I think I think Illinois College obviously looking very, very strong, but Srite's got some good points. I think it would help if you nailed down roles and just really commit, develop some rapport between your ADC support or between your jungle mid or your jungle top. But it really helps to have like a single roster and to kind of get to know each other, get the feel of the game. But yeah, even in what was a very difficult, very fed Caitlyn, very fed Zed, Purple Bear still went 7-3-2, had 10k, which is respectable in the game, almost the same amount as the Zed, despite not taking any turrets really, or having a whole lot of kind of macro cash. He still held his own, and obviously a bright spot for the team. I hope they still continue to try and play through him and figure out a way to get him fed in a way that allow him to carry the game. Great game, guys. Tons of fun to cast. And I hope those of you that tuned in enjoyed it. Thanks so much for listening.
Yeah, that's going to be all from us tonight. Thank you so much, Merlin, for joining me. I had a great time. And Ewok 635, thank you so much for your production, and thank you to all of you for tuning into Style Esports Season 5. It was a really fun time to cast both of these games tonight, and I look forward to seeing even more out of this, because just reminder that this is a ongoing event. Tuesday, we have Black Vex versus the Fairy Tail Guild tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Eastern with Ravishing Ravish and True Light. Ewok will be returning with his marvelous production, so do be sure to check that one out. Additionally, if you're interested in following up with Style Esports and perhaps getting involved yourself, go check out our Discord so you can get our announcements, get in on these team plays, and honestly experience more of, hopefully, more of what we've seen tonight. I've had a great time. My name is Diatripa. Once again, this was Merlin, and from all of us here at Style Esports, have a great evening.